Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday, and we had done our introduction to tissues, and we had gotten to talking about the structures. We are looking at the first class, which is the epithelial tissue, and we had learned that we could have simple, telling us how many layers? One, okay. Stratified, telling us 2 or more. And then we had some shapes. We had our squamous, cuboidal, columnar, if memory serves me correct, okay? So we left off talking about their structure and how they're going to have a free surface. In other words, it's not in contact with another cell. It's in contact with the space. And in some cases, that free surface is going to have the cilia or the microvilli. So we left off because I didn't want to overload you yesterday. So we left off with this simple squamous epithelium. And simple, one layer, squamous, telling us the fried eggs, okay? That layer of the flat cells. This is telling us where we're going to find it. Blood and lymph vessels, small ducts, not quack quack, okay? Note they're letting you know, D-U-C-T, okay? So ducts, the alveoli of the lungs, the loop of Henle, which we find in the kidneys, serous membranes, and part of the eardrum. The function of simple squamous: diffusion, filtration, protection against friction, secretion, and absorption. Note that a lot of the places that we're finding this, it's an opening to the outside of the body for the most part. So it is definitely helping protect against stuff that can try to get in, stuff that's trying to get out, okay? And then when we begin to look at areas where it's on the inner parts of the body, like the alveoli of the lungs, this is where diffusion and filtration, secretion, absorption, all of that's going to become very important. Simple cuboidal, one layer of the cubes. And that's exactly what they look like. When you look at them under the scopes, they are going to simply look like blocks. Okay? So one layer of the blocks. Kidney tubes, some of our glands and their ducts, the choroid plexus of the brain. That's going to definitely come back to us because it helps to give rise to our CSF, the cerebrospinal fluid. Terminal bronchioles of the lungs and the surface of the ovaries. One layer, cube shape. Some are going to have microvilli. Some will have cilia, such as what we find in the respiratory system. In the kidney, these cells are for secretion and absorption. In the choroid plexus of the brain, secretion, secreting the CSF. All right? Respiratory, it helps with the movement of our mucus, which is kind of cool. The simple columnar, one layer, very tall cells. They're really cool to look at under the scopes. And we're going to see glands some ducts, bronchioles, ears, uterus, stomach, intestine, gallbladder, bile ducts, ventricles of the brain. Woo! Okay, so I got quite a bit of simple columnar because of what they do. A lot of them are going to have cilia, or if we look at what we find in the intestines, they're going to be microvilli. And it's really interesting because that helps increase the absorption area for materials. And in the intestines, we need as much surface area for absorption as possible. So those would be the three of the simples. The simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar. Now if we go to 2 or more layers, stratified squamous, we're going to find that we have stratified that's moist, stratified that's not. Hard, it's going to be hard and tough. Look at the areas where it's moist. What do they all have in common? There's an opening to the exterior of your body. Now, what about this keratinized? Can you get a term out of that? Keratin. What does it make you think about?
Hair.
Your hair. Okay. Anything else?
Nails.
Your nails. Anything else? Skin. The process, which we're going to get into in the next chapter, for ending up with all of these little skin cells that flake off all the time, 24/7. If you look up at the light, like right now, those of you who can see up to the light right there, what do you see?
Skin particles.
Looks like stuff squiggling around in the light. Like if you see a streak of sunlight come through a window and you see all of the stuff, probably 80% of it is skin cells. Yeah, and that means every time you're breathing in or whatever, guess what you're breathing in? Oh, is that not just the coolest idea ever? Now, I know, it's kind of cool. Well, if you take deep breaths, guess where it's going? You just swallowed it down. I mean, think of,
I forgot breakfast. It's all right.
and it's like I saw this commercial yesterday. I don't know if you guys are old enough, I know y'all are old enough to remember Morgan Fairchild. She played, was she in the soap opera? I can't remember. No, she's still alive. She was doing this commercial that I saw yesterday. And in the commercial, what happened is she was talking about the mattresses, your mattresses. Like if your mattresses are over 8 years old, you need to get another mattress because it's now so full of dead skin cells and dust and dirt and mites. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just laughing. And I'm laughing, and I'm like, she's right. Problem is, you go to buy a mattress, and they give you this lifetime warranty, which is, of course, the lifetime for them that they consider of the mattress to be, which is usually 20 years, okay? Man, I was sitting there, and I was like, yeah, it is. Full of total skin cells. How cool is that?
Your sheets not wash that stuff out?
No!
It's like if you didn't bathe, but you changed your clothes.
It's the stuff sifts through.
Ew!
And so, think about it. It's kind of cool. Now, we're ending up with what's giving us multiple layers. So definitely, okay, in the moist, we're going to find structure a little bit different. However, In the ones that are going to be keratinized, basically what will happen, the process to get it to become the dry, hardened skin, the one that's keratinized, the process pushes out the nucleus. And that means the other organelles of the cell are going to die, okay? And so they begin to get pushed up and pushed up and pushed up. And at that point, they're going to start sloughing off, which is what we get for our skin. So they're good for protection. They're going to help against abrasions, you know. Believe it or not, without this layer, or the layers, I should say, of the skin that are keratinized like this, something as simple as this could create an abrasion, you know. So it's a really tough protection. Chemicals that we might get near, and ta-da, makes us waterproof, okay? When you see the ducks out on the pond, and they're going preening, okay? They're pulling up the keratin over their feathers to help keep them be waterproof, which is really kind of cool. And then, of course, helping us with infection, because it keeps us, even though we are attacked 24/7 by everything that's around us, because we've got this nice hard coat to us, it's keeping stuff from actually entering. We have to have an actual break in the skin that's going to meet the lower layers for it to become a problem. This stratified cuboidal, once again, looks like several layers of the cubes. Sweat gland ducts, ovarian follicular cells, the ovarian follicles, eggs, okay? Salivary glands, kind of cool. We get the multiple layers. Their job, secretion, think about the salivary glands, absorption and protection. For example, the sweat glands. When we look at stratified columnar, the stratified columnar, because the columnar cells are so tall, and technically if you had like 2 of those columnar layers on top of each other, materials would not be able to flow from that basement membrane to like the second layer of the column cells. So what it ends up doing, they end up sitting on the cubes. Okay, so the cubes will be underneath and the column will be on the top. But that is considered 2 or more layers for the columns. We need them for protection and secretion. Not found in a whole lot of areas of the body. This is rather rare throughout the body. Mammary glands, our larynx, and part of the male urethra. That's pretty much the areas that you're going to find it. So it's one of the ones that's not very huge in number. The pseudo-stratified. Pseudo meaning false, stratified meaning layers. So it looks like we have more than one layer, but it's only one. And every single cell has an attachment to that basement membrane. So every cell has its connection to its nutrient source and the ability to get rid of its waste. So we're going to see these in the nose, the ears, and trachea and bronchi of the lungs. Like I was saying, all of them reach a basement membrane. Almost all of them are ciliated, little hair-like projections. And then they're going to have the goblet cells. Anytime you hear the goblet cells, that's producing mucus, okay? But note where we find them. What do they have in common? opening to the exterior of the body. And we're looking at these areas that are mucus lined. Okay? There's a reason for that. Trust me. Okay? In part 2, you'll learn about that. Make and secrete the mucus to the free surface of that cell. Move the mucus, okay, that has foreign particles from the passages. I look up at that light. I know stuff's coming in. All right? And let's face it, it's an irritant, right? Okay? So, every so often, depending upon how well your respiratory system is, okay, I'm kind of abusive to mine because I do smoke, okay, and I know I should quit, all right, I will one day, but I know that there are irritants that are moving in, okay, and every so often I'm going to have to go, what did I just do? The stuff that's trying to make its way into my lungs, which we don't want, okay? Do not want that happening, okay? The cells are taking and pushing it back up, where I'm going to have to do a little cough and a little bit of a swallow, that sort of thing. With the nose, some people can and swallow it down, you know? And what are we doing? We're just taking all those little irritants that are there, swallowing them down into the stomach where the acid can kill it, which is really kind of cool, you know? So, they're pretty cool cells for the pseudostratified. That transitional epithelium, the one that I mentioned, that's in the bladder, this is the only place you're going to find it. You're only going to find it in our urinary system, because it's going to be the bladder, a little bit of the ureters, and a little bit of the urethra, and that's it. The structure is more than one layer of the cells, but they change shape. So sometimes it'll look like they're cuboidal, sometimes it'll look like they're squamous, but that depends on whether we are distending or emptying the bladder, and the bladder goes back flat. Okay, so the shape actually changes depending on what's the shape of that organ. One of the things that we find, it does have, well, the bladder has the ability to be protected against urine's caustic effects. Because what's the pH of urine? Any ideas? Well, when we look at the body as a whole, the blood that's swimming around should be about 7.45. We know the stomach, lower, like around 1 or 2, okay? And then the urine has a pH of about 6. So that's a tad bit on the acidic side, but the reason for that is the bacteria and stuff that can enter into the bladder by way of the urethra and cause what we have as a wonderful bladder infection, okay? If the pH stays about that amount, that's not a good environment for bacteria. So it kills the bacteria. So the pH of the urine is actually important in health, because if not, you know, you can end up with lots of bladder infections. So this is our epithelial tissue. Simple, stratified, squamous, cuboidal, columnar, pseudostratified, transition. And this is letting you know what it does. Diffusion, filtration, secretion, absorption, protection, blah, blah, blah. All right, where we're going to find it. So just a little chart put together for the simple or the epithelial tissue, which is one of the classes. Remember, there were 4, okay? There were 4 classes of the tissues.